Okay, everyone, I have returned. Been gone a little while, I know, but made it back. I know that I'm on the verge of a level here, but I don't really have any inclination to do something just to level. I'm just going to continue what I was doing prior, which was pretty much hunting for a particular shiny and also kind of gathering rocks and roots along the way. I am currently in my harvesting gear, which on this server isn't a significant number of items. It's just the I have on this ash pick and the ash shovel, which makes my harvesting of rocks go 0.7 seconds faster, and my harvesting of anything that you gather like roots or bushes go faster. So again, 0.5 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but when you are doing it over and over again, it definitely does add up. You're doing at least 3 times per node, so that's it becomes a significant number pretty quickly. Give me just a second here. Sparkling stone, huh? Well, that it's not the most exciting thing I've ever pulled out of a clump of wooden step stones, but I suppose I'll take it. I actually have been uploading my previous saved videos to YouTube. So that's part of what I was doing while I was gone. There's a good number of them, as it turns out. And on Twitch, your videos expire in 7 days until you're, I believe, an affiliate. I think that to become an affiliate, you have to have one of the requirements is that you have to have at least 3 concurrent viewers on average for 4 days out of the 30, or out of a set of 30. I, of course, have not been streaming very long, so needless to say, I have not met those, have not met that bar yet. But maybe soon, and then I can save my videos a little bit longer than 7 days on Twitch. I believe affiliates can save them for 14 days. Now there's something else I've found called clips and something called highlights. I've been trying out the clips a little bit. I haven't done, I think it's called highlights yet, and I think maybe you can save you can save a certain amount of videos for longer than that 7-day limit. I'm really not sure about the details, and I haven't filmed anything that I thought was significant enough to warrant usage of that amount of space. And again, I don't actually know if that's accurate either. It's just what I understand from my brief glimpse of it, so I could be very, very wrong on that. Either way, I've been uploading the videos to YouTube. I think it'll take probably quite a while for those to finish uploading over there. And I also uploaded some clips over there that amused me in one way or another. I am easily amused So just because it amused me doesn't mean that it will amuse anyone else. So, only one way to find out. I feel like my combat music may still be a little bit high. I think I'm going to go ahead and change that and pull it down just a little bit. So you go in, as you can see, you go to options, EQ2 button, options, go down to, well, first you want to click advanced. Normally a good idea to click advanced for pretty much anything you want to do in here. If it's just pretty much anything. So then we'll click on sound. We're just going to do the volume, and I think it's, really what it is, it's not so much the combat music as it is the sounds of the enemies, I think. And I don't really know how to turn that down specifically. So this adjusts the volume of the voiceovers. I'm not sure that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's more of the combat music, except it's not just the music. I think I'll go ahead and turn it down and see if that helps the situation. I really don't feel like it's terribly high, but I think it's a little bit too high for me to be able to speak over. Now, one thing to be aware of is that if you are clicking on the harvesting node and one of these centaurs walks over you, it can be very easy to accidentally double-click one of the centaurs. Not a good idea, because that will send you into auto-attack, and you will attack the otherwise non-aggro centaur. Not the best plan. So do try to be aware if you're harvesting in the Griffin Fields, whether you're clicking using the F button or whether you're clicking using the mouse button, doesn't really matter. Just be careful not to click those centaurs. And that, of course, applies to any other non-aggro creature in any zone that you don't want to accidentally attack. There's a unicorn in one of the Queynos suburbs called Queynos Forest. That was level 30, so I did accidentally get that level. I figured that would happen. And so that's a good thing. Level 30 Swashbuckler gave me a new false blade. That's a new spell for me. It increases my hate gain. Interesting. Okay. Inflicts 162 198 melee on a melee hit. Okay, so this lasts for 10 seconds. So during that time, on a melee hit, the spell will cast blamed on target attack. Okay, so it increases the hate gain of the target of your attack. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Let's see. For now, I think I'm going to drag this one. So I open up the hotkey options, click Allow Draggable Icons, and then I'm going to drag this. For now, I'm going to drag it down here and expand this bar a little bit. And that may be something that I change later. We shall certainly find out. Now this, as you can see, is an upgrade to my cold throw down here. Totally useless for me because I don't have a thrown weapon equipped and ranged, and I don't have any inclination to have a thrown weapon equipped and ranged. So this is not likely to be a terribly useful spell for me. However, I will put it in the place where I have the other cold stone currently, for the other of the same type of spell. And then we'll just toss that out because I don't care about cold throw. I have the upgrade to it, chilling throw. I didn't care about cold throw when I didn't have an upgrade to it. I don't care about its upgrade either. But nonetheless, here we are. we now have replaced the old useless spell with a new useless spell. Now we're going to click cancel. That will make our icons no longer draggable on the bar. And so, back to life as it was. Let's see, earlier there was a bit of dying done, but it looks like the dying was not, did not extend to me. So that's good. No mending is in order for me. Alright, so this is a spell that will second my HO. Right, this will finish my HO. Heroic opportunity, that is. That's that little circle you saw over there with the circles inside it and all the strange little symbols. Whenever anyone triggers a heroic opportunity, then the people who can trigger that heroic opportunity to the next step, whatever that step may be, will have blinking icons on their hotbars, and those are the ones that they can press in order to move the heroic opportunity to the next step. Depending on who presses it and which one they press, that will change which heroic, that will change the possibilities of which heroic opportunity will present itself to be upgraded after that step. So there's a whole system to it, and depending on what classes are in your group, different ones should be the one to move it to the next step by clicking theirs first. If you're by yourself, though, then whichever one you choose is going to be sufficient, because you will be able to finish your heroic opportunity if it's a solo one way or another. Now, I am feeling like I've done enough gathering for the moment. I'm going to run around and see if I can barely pass up those whipstones there. They are tantalizing, so I think I'm going to grab them. Okay, so new plan. Maybe I'm not going to stop gathering. Maybe I'm just going to only gather windswept for a little while instead of other things as I run across it and not going out of my way to specifically find it. That being said, I also need to fish for a quest, so I will do a little bit of fishing, which means that I can go over here. I know I'm going to be doing a bit more with the pick, so I can replace the shovel with the fishing pole, and that way it'll make my fishing go a little bit faster. And again, that's 0.5 seconds faster per harvest. You may recall that earlier when I was trying to gather fish, they all just simply disappeared. I was like, no, you actually can't have any fish today. That is not something that we're doing. So that was a shame, but the fish seem to have reemerged. They're no longer hiding. I suppose the rain has stopped, and they have come out to play again. And I will check over here, where there ought to be some other fishing nodes. Perhaps. If all goes well. Let's see that there's a mob of fish somewhere. There it is. But there's also a bear on me, so I'll get that off. Now you can also see that I could just simply kill the fish in the water. Either way will work for this particular quest, but I am more interested in doing the fishing part because I also need to get my my fishing skill up, and it would do nice to get a little bit of this kind of fish into the depot because really people don't do a lot of fishing, and our provisioners would probably enjoy having some there in the depot. Especially when they have maybe some crafting reds that require them to make some fish. I have a long way to go in getting my fishing skill up to maximum with the level that I'm at. I just did level, as you know, a few minutes ago, and so the upper tier for me has been raised on all of my harvesting skills as well as everything else, of course. But I was already low on fishing, so I would definitely like to remedy that situation somewhat while also finding the updates for the quest. I think it might be, oh, it's Chronom of the Seven Foes. That's the fishing for shallow water dwelling fish. The one that I was trying to update though was a different one. I thought it was Granville's. Yes, it is. Okay, Granville's restaurant. All right. So I could do a dual purpose thing and get the shallow water dwelling fish. And I think that would update both. Yes, I think so, because this just says I need to obtain a variety of high quality seafood. It doesn't specify how to obtain it. I believe that it updates through either. I could be wrong. It's been a while. It's been years since I did this quest last, so. And I'm certainly not infallible. Oh, there's a rough jasper. That's better than nothing. It's not a palladium cluster, but I'll take it. All right. We have navigated the Griffin Fields fairly well without getting attacked by things we didn't want to get attacked by. That's always pleasant. What we didn't find were any shinies during our trek. However, I can kill this Griffon, and I believe that's the last one that I need for that quest. May as well get it done while I'm here. And that is, let's see here. That's for the one-eyed chief, which is one of the banners over by the Watcher of the Fields. The next step on that is going to be to kill saber-tooth looters until I find one with a dash of arrowheads, which just means that it is it's a random update. You trigger it by just continuing to kill those saber-tooth looters for some unknown period of time. It's kind of an RNG situation. I was thinking about it. I believe that the little ravine over here with all of the skeletons in it is called like Dead River. Part of it is called Dead River Basin, I think. I want to call it Dead River Valley in my head, but of course it's not a valley. It's more of a ravine than anything. And most of it isn't really a basin either. But there's one area of it that's Dead River Basin. I think that might be, I'm not sure, maybe, let's see if I can find it. Should be marked somewhere. Ah, there it is, up there to the northwest a little bit of where I'm at. So anyway, I think that that's an update you'll need to get for some quest. Can't remember which one. It might be something that it says you have to take like a hoof and bless it, and it may be one of the places you have to bless it is the Dead River Basin. Again, don't quote me on that. It's been a while. So I did find a shiny, but it was a plain blue ant. And as you may recall, the one that I'm looking for is a striped red ant, so it's just about, not quite the opposite, but kind of close. There's a plain gray ant. Certainly it's always nice to run across shinies, whether they're the one you're looking for or not. But hey, there's a palladium cluster, and I'm not going to sneeze at that. In case you've wondered, I still have not located the plug for that laptop. So I'm still operating on this very subpar computer. Still can't quite turn up the graphics safely. So you'll have to just bear with me and get what you get, I suppose, right? Fortunately, the game is very easily viewable, even in the worst graphics settings. Even when you have it completely turned down, it's not hard to tell what's going on in the game. That's one of the things that I appreciate about it. I played Diablo 1 years after it came out, and I was not really able to tell what was going on. One thing was, the view was not adjustable, and so it's kind of a top-down view, and that's always more difficult for me to see. And then the color scheme was all very similar, so there's not a lot of differentiation, and I kind of need some differentiation in color to be able to tell what's going on very well. So I had a lot of trouble playing that game. And I really don't know if I would have liked it otherwise or not, because I just didn't play it long enough, and I couldn't tell what was going on. I remember in the, I guess it was probably mid-90s, Diablo 1 was very, very popular. I remember people telling me about playing it, and at the time I was very dismissive of it. By the time I tried it, it was probably, I don't know, it was well into the 2000s, and I doubt much of anyone was still playing it at that time. So I kind of missed the heyday. This one game that I used to play off and on was called City of Heroes, and then later on they came out with City of Villains, which was kind of the other side of City of Heroes. It was all part of the same game, and that was an amusing game to play. I would go and do it probably for a few weeks, every few months. So it didn't have the staying power for me that EverQuest 2 did, but probably if I hadn't been playing EverQuest 2 at the time, I would have played that more often than other games. It was amusing, and it could be difficult. I liked to get me and friends and go attack things that were in City of Heroes. They had guys who were a little bigger than red, and they were purple. So if they were higher level, they had the same kind of color schematic for difficulty as EverQuest 2 does, except that they had added the purple tier, meaning that it was just basically impossible. So it was a lot of fun to go after things that were insanely difficult like that. And one thing that we did at Christmas time, they would have these gifts that you were supposed to fight some creatures that were guarding the gifts and then get your present. But what we did was I would get me and a couple other people, and we would designate one of us as basically the bait, and so one of us would run in and just run for our lives from the thing, while the other one, at least, they would both try, or however many people were with us, would try to get the gifts. So that was a fun game to play. Spent many hours amusing ourselves with that. And then it ended up getting shut down. There were some lawsuits that happened because the character design was incredible, and so you could design your hero to look exactly like Superman, like just down to every detail. It would look like Superman to the degree that they were able to be sued because people in the game were creating look-alike characters. very, very effectively. And as a result, I mean, it was not great. And of course, the owners of that game were responsible for that because they had ownership of anything being made within the game, just like everyone does with their games. They all say, "Oh, we own your whatever you design is ours," basically. So they ended up getting in some trouble over that. And of course, the same was true for the villains because City of Villains, again, you could make characters that were very, very similar to superheroes or supervillains, rather, in comic books. Anyway, if you did not get a chance to play that when it was going, you missed out. But my understanding is that there are some, I guess, emulators, at least one of them, that can be found online. I don't know where the websites are or anything like that, but I've heard about them. I've heard they're in the same files. But it was pretty cool. Actually, when you first when it first came around, if you had a membership, then you actually got a little comic book along with it. They had a City of Heroes comic book for the first. I can't really tell you how long. It was for quite some time though, and I wish that I still had some of those. I do still have one of the little figurines that you got. You got like this little action hero figurine when you purchased the one of the expansions, I think. It's pretty cool. Sent to you in the mail and all that, and it has a little case. I know I still have that little guy around somewhere. But I don't think that I kept the comic books. Probably they didn't make the moves. I've moved a few times since then, and I doubt they made it. I know that I still have some of the EverQuest CDs from back when you bought the game in the store and it came on CDs, and you would have, 8 CDs that you needed to go through to get the game onto your system. I actually prefer that over digital downloads. I feel like I like to have something tangible for my money. I know that it's counter to the current, I suppose, popular opinion. A lot of people seem to be more minimalistic these days. They don't want excess physical items in their environment. I think I prefer to have them because then if something, say for instance, if the EverQuest servers shut down someday, then I would have nothing, right? I might have some videos, but I would have nothing of the game. Except I would, because I have the old DVDs, but say that if everything was digital and it had never had any physical discs, then then I would have no remnants of it. I think I prefer to have remnants. And I'm the same way about movies and books. I'm not really a big fan of ebooks. I will read them under the right conditions, but I really prefer the physical copy. I don't want to have to charge device in order to read a book. I just want to be able to grab it and take it wherever I want to, not worry about the battery going dead. And then if say I want to divest myself of electronics for some reason, then I don't want to lose my books if I were to do such a thing. And I also prefer cartridges over discs. Again, another unpopular opinion, I think, probably, but nonetheless, that is how I feel about it. I feel like cassette tapes, for instance, and VHSs lasted incredibly longer than any kind of disc that I've ever experienced. The closest thing to, and of course, I guess when I'm referring to that, I'm talking about any kind of digital disc. Records are just fine. Vinyl records, I mean, they will break, don't get me wrong. They're not as good in that regard as a cassette, because you can take, okay, give you an example, cartridges. You can dig up an NES cartridge from 1984 out of the ground, and after just a little work cleaning it up, you can play that cartridge a lot of the time in your NES. Now, if you dug up a CD from the ground, I find it very unlikely that you could stick that, no matter how well you cleaned it up, it's unlikely to me, first of all, that you would pull it out of the ground unbroken to start with. And even if it wasn't completely shattered, I think the odds of it being readable after being buried in the ground for years would not be good. I remember we had, what was it, Super Mario Brothers Wii, and we put it into the Nintendo Wii, and we never took it out, so we played it, and then we would turn off the Wii, but it was the only game we were playing, and so we didn't take it out and put it in its case. We would just leave it in there, and then we would turn the Wii on when we were ready to play it, and play some more. And just under those conditions, the disc would not last very long. We might get a few months out of it, and then it would not read any of it anymore. And this happened multiple times. I think we went through 4 discs of Super Mario Brothers Wii. The same thing happened with Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii. Just utter garbage. But I've had the same thing happen with CDs. My father used to play a particular CD on repeat, and he did not take it out of his CD player. He would just play it, And then one day it just stopped playing. The CD player was perfectly fine. It was just the CD could no longer be read. Nothing could be done to fix it. So I definitely don't think that's a good design. If you take a record has many plays that it can go through before it is unplayable anymore. That being said, records do degrade over time, but overtime is one thing and a few months is another. But that being said, I will take a CD over a digital download every day of the week. Well, I have not made it very far toward my goal of finding a striped red ant. Now that being said, I did find one striped red ant, I don't know, maybe days ago, and I turned that one in to Elowys for her desperately seeking ants quest. And of course she dropped it, and I of course told her that I would go and find her another one, because that is the way that quest line goes. So hopefully I will be able to find her that second promised ant someday. It looks like this one's bags are almost full. So soon I will have to call back to town and go take these items to the guild house and dump some things into the depot, I think. I'll have a few collectibles to add, but I'll have quite a few harvested things to add. I tried earlier to make one of my goals show up on the upper right hand side of the screen. It looks in my little tiny window on my phone as though that worked. Hopefully that displays correctly. I actually set 3 goals. I think that they are viewable on my profile page, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I didn't want to put all 3 of them on the display screen during the or on the I guess the video display screen, because I felt like that would take up more room on my screen than I wanted to commit to it. But I don't know. Maybe it would have been a good idea to have those on there. And in fact, from what I can see on my screen, it looks like possibly there may be room above the video. The one that I have there may be far enough above the video screen that I could put all 3 goals up there. And that way you guys could see what I'm trying to accomplish. If I can get a second monitor, then I think that will make it much easier for me to see what you guys are seeing while I'm streaming. Sometime I hope to try to figure out how to make overlays so that I can maybe have Copernicus' name somewhere on the screen while I'm playing, and possibly name, level, and server. Seems like it could be fun. But I haven't stressed about it too much yet. Maybe soon I will look into that more. Plain yellow ant. I mean, hey, they're ants. They're colorful. Close enough, right? I think I'll run back down over here to the lion area. See if we've got some more shiny spawns over there. I'm sure we do by now. And maybe there's even a striped red ant hanging around. If there isn't, then it's whatever the next shiny I get is most likely going to fill up my bags, in which case that'll be time to call back to empty the bags. Always enjoyed the music in Thundering Steps, and in fact, in all of the early parts of EverQuest, it's always had, I don't know, very, very pleasant music. And see that there is a shiny over here. See if we can get it without aggroing this. Oh, we already aggroed that line. Too bad. Guess I'll swim over here so that I don't get more attention than I'm interested in. Wasn't intending to get into a fight, but I guess if the fight comes to me, then here we are. Alright, now for that shiny. Yeah, as predicted, it was not a striped red ant, and it did fill up our bags. I noticed that I need to get some more arrows when I'm in town. So, I will take that opportunity to call Queynos. It's going to take me to North Queynos. I have mine set right at the broker area in North Queynos. However, I'm going to be running over to Willow Wood to go to our guild house. That way I can unload a lot of my items, probably directly into the depots that are there. The depots are something that that's available on this server that was definitely not available in 2007 when this game is set. So they're handy. It's another reason that this server is not exactly reflective of the way things were. The armor sets that are in this game did not exist at that time. The depots did not exist. Prestige houses did not exist. There's a lot of things. Coin weighed money, or coin had weight. Sorry, at that time, and could definitely cause you some degree of dismay. Before that, you had to exchange your money. So if you had 100 copper, that would weigh you down. I mean, not 100 specifically, but say you didn't go and exchange your money at a bank to exchange 100 copper for 1 silver was much less weight for you than carrying around all that excess. So sometimes you would have to go and just trade in your money to the banker so that you didn't walk around at snail speed. And if you had high strength, then you could carry more. So I had a guardian at one point during the times of wait that could carry strong boxes around. That was a great boon. But my first main was a conjurer, and let me tell you, a conjurer could not carry much. Certainly couldn't carry a single strongbox. Just carrying around dropped loot that happened to be plate mail was very difficult. This character is a level 29 Swashbuckler, Ravenous Uno. So, Ravenous 1. Interesting. Do you have a character on the Origins server, Ravenous? Ah, no. Maybe you will sometime. It's currently set during the time period around 2007. So Echoes of Fadewar is not quite out. It's coming out in a couple of months. The name of this server is Anashti Sul. It's one of the 2 Origins servers that there are right now. Origins is in reference to it being basically a classic version. Apparently they found the files from like 2006, and so that's what this server is based on. It has a lot of the same feel to it as it did back then. It's not, like I was just saying, it's not entirely. Okay, all right. You should be able to do it. Okay, well, I don't know much about playing through Steam, so I'm not going to be able to give you too much of a direction on that. as far as I know, you should still be using the launch pad when you play through Steam, right? Yeah. Okay, so in that case, you should be able to still access the Origins servers if you want to. You do have to go down to the little drop-down menu on the upper left part of it. You would normally use that to get into your beta, if you've ever played on beta before. Yeah, it could be fun for you. It's definitely significantly more of a challenge than you have on live, so keep that in mind when you go to attack things, that it's not going to be quite as easy as you may be used to on the lab server. Oh, you're a new player? That's awesome. The other Origins server that there is, I can't currently think of the name of it, but it's a PvP server. So the server I'm on, Anashti Sul, is PvE. First time playing EQ2, very nice. I hope that you enjoyed. Have you ever tried the original EverQuest? No? Well, it'll be a whole new experience for you then. Have you ever played any MMOs? Alright, cool. Then you're not, you won't be completely out of your element then. There are definitely a lot of similarities between pretty much any MMO, I would say. So, the basics, you'll be fine with. I'm going to switch into my crafting gear. I made myself this crafting armor set. So let's throw it in and do a little bit of crafting. Excellent. What kind of MMOs did you play previously? You said you played a few. Did you do like EVE Online or World of Warcraft? Okay, you're talking about hotbars. Okay. If you want more hotbars, you can go down to, if you have the spinner activated, you can click the spinner. That's an easy way to do it. And then you go to open a new hotbar. If you don't have the spinner, then you can still click on, like, any of your blank spaces will work. It's as long as you're right clicking. If you click on like an ability or a spell, then it'll give you this menu here, which is not, well, okay, you can get down to it right there. Open new hotbar there. But if you don't have an ability in it, then the first option is open new hotbar. And you can actually do you can do a lot of things with these. You can go to hotbar settings and you can adjust the size of your padding and the size of your icon. So this is the icon size. I keep mine at 42. You can also change the padding size, which is the distance between them. And I keep mine at 1 on those. you can change your key map, which I have. What we're looking at right now is my key map for hotbar number 6, and I have it key mapped as number 1, so that I can press numbers on my keyboard and activate the abilities that I have on that bar. But yeah, you have a lot of options of what you can do here. Showing the spinner, if you don't have it shown, it looks like this. If you do, it looks like this. I never have my icons draggable during combat on any of my bars, because otherwise you can end up accidentally moving your icons around, or even throwing them off of your bar entirely if you have them allowed draggable icons. So I typically have that off, and if I want to drag something, then I'll open this window, click the button, and then do whatever dragging I want, and then cancel that so that it doesn't apply. But yeah, it's pretty neat. You can expand them to whatever size and shape you want as well. But anyway, I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but just so you know, that's available to manipulate that. One thing I do like about EverQuest is how customizable your display is. Once you get into the settings and get into the advanced settings, you can really change up some things there about how which hotkeys are for what and how your gameplay feels. Ravenous, if you've never played EverQuest before, then you will probably never have experienced anything like the crafting system in here. It's what I'm doing right now, and it's different than anything else I've seen in any game that I've tried. It's much more interactive for one thing, and I ran out of dark brown coal, so I thought I could grab some. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a good idea, in addition to adding some of the the extra hot bars. Sometimes you'll have things like potions. Like I have potions on my hot bar for health and for power, because that's something that often you may want to be clicking on while you're in combat, and it's something that otherwise you would have to go into your bags and activate. So if you stick them on your hotbar, they work just like any kind of spell or ability. You can do the same with if you get hex dolls later, or any kind of equipment that has an ability on it. As you can see, this applies Hex of Fright when activated, lasts for 1 minute 48 seconds. So I could take this imbued hex doll and drag it down here, and then whenever I want to use that ability, decreases haste of target by 11.2 to 16.8, then I could just click it and it would work from there. Oh yeah, no problem. I'm really good at tangents. I go off on them often. I'm not planning to use this Ruckus Hex Doll's ability anytime soon. So, I might at some point. You know what? I will keep it. I'll go ahead and keep it on there. I have the Fright, and I also have Hex of Shadows, which slows the target. I haven't been using those, but hey, maybe I will. This one won't be as useful for me right now, assuming I'm in a group. If I'm soloing, that one will be, but otherwise this haste one will come in handy more often. Now, let's see here if I can remember to get the dark brown coal while I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and get 5 stacks, because that'll last me a minute. Now what's fun is when you go to buy something like that and then you come running back only to discover that you bought the wrong thing. Not just everyone can forget within 30 seconds what they're going to do, but I am one of those few who can. Right now I have 4.8% trade skill vitality, so it won't last very long. What it means is that right now I'm getting double XP every time I craft something or turn in a crafting rope. But as soon as that gets to 0, I will no longer be getting double XP on my crafting. Just out of curiosity, let's see what my adventure vitality is at. 17.1, so I'm low on both fronts. And I'm going to open the knowledge book back up and use the appropriately leveled abilities instead of using the old ones. I see that you said Lock-in Kippo. Yes, that was my nickname back in the wee dwarven nursery. They called me Lock-in Kippo. Oh, did you know? I won't tell you how I got that name. Right now I have food and drink running, but I don't have any totems for power regen running. So I am in some degree of danger of running out of power if I go too heavy on these blue, the oval cut and the square cut abilities. So as long as I alternate those a little bit, lay off of them some, that won't be an issue. But if I continue to go full bore on them, I may end up getting low on my power. Fortunately, we have this lovely Noggin Sparks Wondrous Ticker Doodle that can come in handy if that becomes the case. Because that will give me 70 power, which is still pretty significant at level 30. is a little bit better, I believe, than the level 20 power potion, and it is probably close to as good as the level 30 power potion. I believe Garabrim suggested to me that it may be my gnomish reward for doing the gnomish quest line in the Bauble Shower. That's a possibility. I do remember that I got it from a quest. I don't remember which quest that was. But if you do have it, it is useful, particularly in crafting. But also when you're in between fights, and maybe you're a little bit low on energy. I alternate between calling it power, energy, and mana, so anytime I use those terms, I'm always referring to the blue bar underneath the character's name. The way that I have my knowledge book arranged right now is with the progress increases on the bottom and the durability increases on the top. This makes it easiest for me to know where they are without getting them confused. Some people alternate. They'll have each visual symbol side by side, and maybe the durability on the left and the progress on the right, or something like that. But in a pinch, I may panic and click the wrong one. So I know me. I've gotta have them grouped by what they are, what kind of thing they're increasing, rather than what their symbol looks like. I think that I'm the only one on, yes, I am the only one on in the guild right now. So I suppose they've all given up and gone to bed for the most part. It is a little bit after 11 here, 11:14. Also, Ravenous, if you're setting up your UI, I recommend putting a timestamp on your chat window, because that'll help you very easily be able to know what time it is, which is useful, obviously, for the real world, but it's also useful in game sometimes. You can see when something last spawned or something like that, whatever it is you're wanting to know, whenever damage was done or how often it's done or something like that. You can see the time in the window there. That's in your, I believe that's in your options on the EQ2 button. You'd have to go to advanced settings. I might can find it in a moment. this combine is being a bit of a struggle. It's fighting with me the whole way. When you're assessing movements. Like the, you mean your combat arts? Or just movement keys? Alright, finished that writ. I'll just have to turn it in, but let's go see in the options where that is. Probably, let's see here. You've gone to user interface and then chat window, and you can scroll down. There's a way to log your chat text if you want to do that, and that just saves everything that appears in your chat to your computer. But the one that I was talking about is chat message time. So if you have that checked, then you can see what time it is every time anything happens in your chat window. So, may be helpful. I know that I've always found it helpful. Alright, throwing this sucker in now. I'm at 0% vitality right now, just to let you know. So I've already blown through the remainder of vitality that I had moments ago. Some number of moments ago, but still moments ago.
Hello.
I'll go ahead and pick up the next work order, and then don't forget to click the work order station so that you can actually start it. Otherwise, you end up running all the way back to the guild house to find that you don't actually have the quest to the part of it that you need to in order to make items. So that's not the best decision. But I will work on at least part of another bit before I call it. Maybe I'll finish it, maybe I won't. We'll see. saw that. Look at that. You see the durability is down here. Very, very small. And I had to click on the durability increases in order to save that one from going down to the third bar. If that happened, it would have made an Apprentice 3 instead of an Apprentice 4 of the spell, which would not have updated my work order, and which also would have decreased the quality of the spell had I been making it for anything but a rush or a work order. Just to stress that point yet again. This one if I don't do a little work on it as well, so let's see if I can not lose it. I suspect I can save it, but you never know. I think it's pretty safe at this point. I'll go ahead and add some more progress on there and finish this off. Yeah, there we are. Another of the settings that you can change in the option view that's useful is how long it takes for the tooltip to show up when you mouse over something like this. I want mine to mouse over fairly quick, or my tooltip to show up when I mouse over it fairly quickly, but not instantly. It can get in the way if you are trying to cast a spell or something that shows up too quickly. I've been reading Brave New World to my middle son, and I've never read it before, so I thought it would be a good one to delve into. And I gotta say, I think I am unimpressed. I feel like it was probably a very imaginative story in 1932 when it was published. But unfortunately, it's just not that interesting at this point. It's the ideas put forth in it aren't so foreign, and the storyline is lacking. I'm almost finished reading it. We have probably 60 pages left to go, and it's somewhat dull, and I'm not a great fan of any of the characters in it. Can't say that I identify with them. I get the idea, but to me it's not engaging writing style. I've never read Aldous Huxley before. I was expecting something more in line with like Fahrenheit 451, which was a well-written story that also delivered some interesting and engaging points. So I'm pretty disappointed overall with Brave New World. And like I said, some of it is probably that the times have changed, and so I appreciate it less than maybe people would have at the time. It may have been something shocking for them then. It's less shocking now, and without the shock value, I don't feel that there's a great story there. However, I think that it's a good one to have read, so that then at least I will be able to speak on the subject and have an idea, you know, my opinion on the book, the premise. We're sort of slogging our way through it one chapter a night. And I think we may be going to read Siddhartha next, possibly. It's another one I haven't read before. It's a classic, you know, just like Brave New World is a classic. I don't know. I don't have any preconceptions about it, one way or another. I know a little bit about it, which I really didn't know much about Brave New World, except that it was a dystopian society, or at least that's what I had thought. And that's certainly, I would agree with that. My understanding is that Aldous Huxley later wrote a book, I believe it's called Island, and that may have been the one that he wrote in order to try to have a utopian society. I don't know what kind of a story you could have in an actual utopia without it being a dystopia. But again, I haven't read it, so I can't say. It just seems not very entertaining, and now that I'm reading Brave New World, and I'm not very entertained by it either, I think that it's possible that Aldous Huxley just wasn't a very entertaining writer. For me. Somebody may think that he's lovely, but I think from my standpoint, maybe not. It's like Arthur C. Clarke had some very interesting stories. He was not an amazing writer as far as being engaging, but he had some interesting ideas, and he was capable. He was a capable writer. He wrote very technically well, but stylistically, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I would say he was an idea man for sure, but not really engaging writer. If you haven't read Puppet Masters, I believe that was a Arthur C. Clarke one. Could be wrong. Could be, but I think it was. Anyway, it's an interesting one, especially I think for probably like a teenager, maybe an older teenager may enjoy it, or even maybe like 13 and up. was distracted reading the argument going on in general chat over here. Well, I mean, it's good to see it. Good to see it active, I suppose. But man, sometimes the subjects that they get hung up on in there are just kind of makes you wonder. Like, oh, are you just you guys just bored or what? You know? All right. Well, I think that I'm gonna have to call it a night after this. Turn in and pick up. Because it is 11:30 p.m. currently, and I probably ought to start packing up the computer for now. It was nice to meet you, Ravenous, and good luck playing EQ2. If you have any questions, I might be able to answer them, so be sure to let me know. For now, have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.